What's good, YouTube? Fairdale Kings coming back at you again with another EA Sports College Football 25 video. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the top 25 rankings. I don't think that I've seen a video yet talking about and discussing the current top 25. Pretty much everything's been finalized. Now, these rankings are still subject to change as player movement has been finalized. Some of the overalls, offensive rankings, defensive rankings are going to be finalized. But just going through the videos, looking at the trailer, looking at the EA Sports gameplay deep dive, some of the other videos that we've been able to pull information from, when we've been able to determine 19 of the top 25 teams. So I'd like to go in here and plug in those other 6 to be determined spots. Now, this video is just for educational purposes only. This is just for entertainment. Nothing has been finalized, but this is just centerpiece to kind of start some conversation, start some dialogue, and to get people thinking as we move closer to the release of this game. But, you know, we're already talking. I was talking to some of my colleagues that are going to be participating in the dynasties with me this year, and we're kind of finalizing the settings and, you know, talking through some of the rules and settings that we're going to have in our dynasty and the format, because we're going to have an in-person draft for one of my dynasties, which is going to be just a bunch of local guys that I've played with for years. But we several of them are top 100 players. I mean, that's the thing. We've been doing this for a minute, so it's highly competitive league. A lot of pride. We play fantasy football together. So we've been doing this for 20 plus years, 30 plus years, really. So we're already talking through some of them things. But anyway, this is just my opinion. But, you know, with that being said, I'd like to bring up a tweet that I posted today on Twitter to kind of spark some of the conversation and dialogue. So this is my projection of the top 10 rankings, and I actually carry it on to the top 25 rankings. My projections were based on the consensus of ESPN, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, 24/7 Sports, Lindy's, and Athlon Sports preseason magazines, which just came out this week. Of the top 10, number 4, number 5, number 8, and number 10, we don't have visuals that will confirm rankings for these teams, for those spots. And then I continue with the next tweet later on today, or earlier today. Again, confirming this is just my opinion. These are my projections on what the top 25 is going to look like. And on this visual here, it tells you the following teams are unconfirmed. So we're looking to identify number 4, number 5, number 8, number 10, number 19, and number 20. Also, from the information that we've been able to collect, we know that Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Iowa, North Carolina, and Pitt are not ranked. So without further ado, this is Fairdale Kings top 25 rankings. At number 25, confirmed USC. So the Trojans made the top 25. Remember, they're no longer in the Pac-12. They are a Big Ten team this year. But USC, number 25. At number 24, SEC member, Texas A&M, confirmed. At number 23 in the ACC, the U, They've made the top 25, all the hype, all the time. Every year we talk about Miami. Then we let the season play out and we see what happens. But once again, there's hype here preseason, and a bunch of talent on that team for sure. But Miami is ranked number 23. Another ACC member, NC State, is confirmed at number 22. From the Big 12 Conference, one of the teams that's going to be competing for the championship, for the title there in that conference, now that Oklahoma and Texas have moved on, number 21 is the Kansas Jayhawks. A lot of players coming back from a very successful year last year. A lot of hype surrounding Kansas, wide open offense, so they're pretty entertaining to watch. They've cracked the top 25. Now, this is one of the spots, both 19 and 20, which are unconfirmed. From my best guess and looking at the collection of those 6 polls that I was able to look at, try to figure out, looking at what happened last season. Louisville was a top 20 team last year. They were ranked higher going into spring ball than when they came out. Louisville lost some of the players who then transferred. They jumped back in the transfer portal after coming here. One of them was a running back from Toledo who, bunch of drama involved with him and his agent or representative. But anyway, I have Louisville pegged at number 20. I feel good about this pick, not just because I'm a Louisville fan. I'm trying to be as objective as possible, looking at the collective, looking at all of the top 25 polls that we have at our disposal. Louisville would seem to be a team who's going to be in this number 20 spot. Now, when we get to the end of the video, I will talk about some of the teams that could maybe have filled this role. But for right now, Louisville, number 20 from the ACC, unconfirmed. At number 19, Kansas State, another team that is unconfirmed, but they have received a lot of hype in almost every one of the top 25 preseason polls. So of the 2 that I had, Louisville and Kansas State, I'm giving Kansas State the nod because they have regularly been in the top 20 in those preseason polls. They have a couple of outliers, but I mean, they've got 5 or 6 votes in the top 25. So I'm giving them the nod over Louisville and safely putting them at number 19. Now, let me say it again. Kansas State is unconfirmed. But in my opinion, they're going to be a top 20 team on this game. Oklahoma State, another team that will compete in the Big 12 Conference, number 18. Now, this next 9 teams or so are confirmed. Oklahoma State confirmed. They're number 18. Number 17, another ACC school, Clemson. Ton of talent. Dabo ain't hit the portal, though. He don't know what the portal is. Someone needs to introduce him to it. But his opinion is we're just going to roll with the 4 and 5 stars that we have. I'm not getting players ready to transfer and go to another school. And I'm not going to bring in someone else's hot garbage and hype it up like, oh, well, we just signed the running back from Toledo. No, we're signing 5 stars out of high school, and we're going to turn them monsters loose and let them ball. If they want to leave, so be it. I'm not going to get in someone else's trash. Hey, as Dabo's philosophy, it's not mine. But let's see how it works out, man. They struggled a little bit last year, but they've got a ton of talent. You're looking at the rankings and the ratings this year on the game. Good googly moogly. Clemson has a 98 defense, probably the top defense in the game. Their offense is about an 87, but it still averages out. They had a 95 overall team, at least according to the current rankings that we've seen. So that's subject to change. But right now, Clemson looks like they could be one of them teams. I mean, you might have to just run a little bit slow down offense, try not to make turnovers and just let your defense ball out. They've got right now one of the top defenses on the game. So anyway, Clemson, 17. Moving on. Another one of those teams that have left the now basically defunct Pac-12, that 2-member league, is number 16 Arizona, who's moved on to the Big 12. They're also one of those teams that it's a wide open Big 12. They could come in and lead the charge, and them in Utah really, and we'll be competing with Kansas, with Colorado, with Oklahoma State, Kansas State. I mean, so no one really knows what's going to happen now that Oklahoma and Texas are gone. So it's a wide open league. Kansas definitely has the potential, though, to recruit in California and be one of them teams that have high hopes for the future. So Arizona, number 16, confirmed. At number 15, we have an SEC school, Tennessee. Been pretty exciting here for the last couple of years for Tennessee Vol fans. They've had some really good years. That momentum continues. But, you got that meat grinder of the SEC, but right now they're going to start in the top 15. At number 14, the Oklahoma Sooners, confirmed at 14. They are joining the SEC, so the competition level is definitely going to rise. We'll see what happens. They're taking on a new quarterback this year, so Gabriel's moved on to that left coast. So we'll see what happens here with Oklahoma, but they're going to start in the top 15 there at number 14. At number 13, the much ballyhooed LSU Tigers. Brian Kelly's got that team rolling. So we'll see. I mean, another SEC team. I mean, you're going to see them just hitting one after another. That conference is deep. They're going to sit there and beat on each other, and just see how where the pieces may fall. But LSU has just as much talent as anyone in the country. It's a matter of whether or not they can go out and execute and play 4 quarters on offense and defense. So LSU 13 confirmed there. At number 12, Utah, now in the Big 12. Right now, they are the number 1 contender to win that league. They've came over from the Pac-12. They've stacked up successful seasons year after year after year. I talked about it in one of my previous videos talking about dynasty. My only concern with taking Utah is, you can win a ton of games. Are you going to be able to maintain this team throughout the duration of dynasty because of the lack of a strong recruiting base? If you can tap into the state of California and pull talent there, maybe mixing a couple players from Texas, there's potential. I mean, they might come in and just dominate. They could blitz this Big 12. So we're a little bit apprehensive. I love, though, Utah, man. They definitely have a ton of upside, and I like this at 12. They're confirmed. At number 11, a team last year that went 13-0 through the regular season, and then Jordan Travis, their quarterback, suffered a catastrophic injury, and yet they still beat the University of Louisville in the ACC championship game and really dominated us. I mean, we couldn't move the ball against that defense. And then once the players found out that they were not going to be a participant for the playoffs, 27, 28 players opted out and didn't play in the ball game, and they just got steamrolled by Georgia. But they've gone out. They lost several of those players to the NFL draft. I mean, it was a ridiculous number they lost this year to the NFL draft. But they've replaced a lot of players. They hit the portal. They embraced the portal. They're going to bring in top talent. They said, Florida State sells itself. And then on top of that, you've got the state of Florida to recruit in. So they're going to compete in the ACC. They're the favorite right now. You've got Florida State. You've got Clemson. You'll have Louisville competing, Miami, NC State. So it's going to be an entertaining season this year to see what happens. So Florida State, number 11, confirmed. At number 10, and this is one of the unconfirmed picks. In my opinion, Notre Dame is going to be slotted at number 10. Reason being is, of the 4 teams that are unknown, and that's spots 4, 5, 8, and 10, Notre Dame is the one school that is ranked the consensus lowest of those top four teams, which are Oregon, which are Ole Miss, Missouri, and then Notre Dame. So I'm going to put them at 10. It would not surprise me if EA put them at 8, maybe even 5. That's the highest I've seen Notre Dame ranked, is number 5 in the country in one of the polls. But my 2 cents says Notre Dame, number 10. Good thing about Notre Dame, they are an independent. They don't have a conference affiliation. Bad thing is, because of that conference affiliation, they don't get a bye in the playoffs. So if you take Notre Dame in your dynasty, just remember that. You're not going to be slotted in one of the top 4 spots as far as seeds are concerned. You've got to truly win and hope that you get that number 5 spot in the final polls, so that you can take on the number 4 in the second round, or however it's going to shake out. But, you want that home field advantage for the playoffs. Anyway, Notre Dame, number 10, unconfirmed. At number 9, defending national champion Michigan Wolverines are number 9 from the Big Ten Conference. There's a lot of question marks. New coach. They lost a ton of talent to the NFL draft. Their biggest name right now on offense is Donovan Edwards, which is a running back who ran for less than 500 yards last year and 5 touchdowns. He doesn't have breakaway speed as the other back did. I think it's going to be more of a running back field by committee. I mean, Edwards is going to get carries. Don't get it twisted. He's going to carry the ball. But I just don't think he's going to be that dynamic workhorse that's going to run for, 1,000 or 1,200 yards. He's going to get his, but he's going to have to share some of that brunt of the carries. So anyway, they've got a tough conference. They've got a bunch of tough games. I mean, obviously, the end of the season, what's happened for the last couple of years, they've been able to beat Ohio State, but they don't have Harbaugh on the sideline anymore. So that's why they're just inside the top 10 this year. So Michigan, number 9, that's confirmed. At number 8, this spot is unconfirmed. We don't know who number 8 is. My projection is this spot is going to be slotted to Missouri. Missouri has been doing a bang-up job in the SEC. They've had a lot of success. They throw the ball around a lot. They're a great team to play with. They're not going to sneak up on anyone, but you do get to play in the SEC, so that's going to be an advantage in recruiting. But, this spot could be Notre Dame 8, Missouri 10. I just have my own gut feeling, and looking at what we've seen thus far with all the consensus of the polls, Missouri is going to be the number 8 team. That's where they should be. That's where I'm going to slot them. So Missouri, number 8, unconfirmed. At number 7, Penn State. Another one of the teams from the Big Ten that's going to crack the top 10. So it's a very top-heavy league for sure. So Penn State is confirmed, number 7. At number 6, and according to some of the preseason polls, I've actually seen them higher, but now that Nick Saban's left, they've dipped a little bit. They've dropped outside of the top 5, but they've been a perennial dominant team. They've had a dynasty down there in Alabama for the last 10-plus years. We know what they can do. They've been able to recruit nationally, but they have a new coach on the sideline. It's going to be interesting to see with some of the new schools that have come in as far as Texas and Oklahoma, and, with the rise, obviously, of Georgia in the last couple of years and how much they've dominated the landscape of college football. And then, you inject the rise of Ole Miss and what Lane Kiffin's done there. It's surprising, but number 6 is Alabama, and that spot is confirmed. At number 5, numbers 4 and 5 are unconfirmed. Let me put that out there. 4 and 5 are unconfirmed. I'm going to put in my projection, this is my opinion, number 5 is going to be Ole Miss. They've been a consensus top 5 team in almost every preseason poll that I've looked at. Jackson Dart at quarterback, Lane Kiffin on the sideline. Great offense. They're so entertaining to watch. But you've got to live up to expectations now. The bullseye's on your back. Tough schedule nonetheless. I mean, there's no easy schedules in the SEC. It doesn't matter. And now you add 2 newcomers in Texas and Oklahoma to go along with everyone else that's already been in the conference. Holy cow, man. It's going to be fun to watch the SEC this year. I know everyone gets tired of hearing about the hype. It's not hype, man. This is real. They live and breathe football in the South. And, they go out and they show out every week. So, my opinion, Ole Miss from the SEC, number 5, unconfirmed. At number 4, the Oregon Ducks. This spot is unconfirmed. So anyone could go there. And when I say anyone, I'm talking about Oregon, Ole Miss, Missouri, Notre Dame. Those are the 4 candidates for this spot. Of those 4, though, I'm putting Oregon here just because I've seen preseason polls, postseason, post-spring, pre-spring, right off the bow. Oregon's been as high as number 2 and no lower than number 4 in every syndication that I've read. If it's a major media source, ESPN, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, 24/7, Lindy's, Athlon, no lower than 4. They've been consensus top 4 the whole time. They're going to stay in my top 4. EA could surprise me. Don't get it twisted. They could surprise me. But for the sake of what we're doing here, we're going to have Oregon number 4. Unconfirmed, but Oregon, in my opinion, is 4. Number 3, the Texas Longhorns. This is confirmed. We know this. This is locked up. They've left the Big 12. They're now in the SEC. I've said that several times during this video. The hype is real. If you would take Texas in your dynasty, you have the recruiting base of the great state of Texas to go recruit in. They've been entertaining. They've got one of the top quarterbacks. He's a cover athlete in Quinn Ewers. Everyone knows about Arch Manning, the backup, opted out. He's one of the few athletes, one of the few top-level athletes that's not going to participate in the game. We can't get around it unless he has a change of heart and someone finally talks to him like, Arch, look, dude, sign up for the game. Look at all the hype surrounding this game. It's going to be big. You're going to be in the game in the first version of it after it comes back from a long, being missing for so long. And take your $600, take your $1,000, $1,200, whatever they give you, and donate it to the Boys and Girls Club of Austin, Texas. Give it to your favorite charity. It'd be great to have Arch Manning in the game. I know he doesn't want to be a distraction. And, dude, it's a video game, man. It's your virtual likeness. It's your virtual likeness. And if, heaven forbid, if something does happen to Quinn Ewers in this season, he goes down in week 2, blows out his knee, Achilles, whatever. Manning had such a bang-up, phenomenal spring game. And I know he's going against 2s and whatever. This dude was hyped coming out of high school. Everyone knows the Manning legacy. And you come in and you're leading the team because of an injury, you become a bigger distraction because people are going to want you on their team. Your virtual self playing for Texas. Not just Texas fans. You're not just impacting your own Texas fans and your brand. Bro, national reach is what you have. You've got a platform. We saw it last year in bowl season. You all playing. You're the bench warmer, man. 3rd string. Surrounded with people. 3 people over talking to Quinn. That's a big burden to wear, brother. But hey, whatever. I don't want to sit there and distract from this, but man, Texas, number 3, confirmed. Number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. In my own personal opinion, earlier I did a dynasty breakdown. Ohio State, I had number 1 just because I thought that they have a little bit easier path. But anyway, in the top 25, Ohio State's number 2. Not surprised. Not surprised. Going to have a tough season ahead. They've still got to beat Michigan. They haven't done that in a couple years. I'm not going to say several because when I say I lived in Cleveland, Ohio for 7 years. So I grew up an Ohio State fan before I moved to Louisville, Kentucky. So Louisville is where my heart's at. But hey, I still follow OH. Okay? You see my shirt, Cleveland Browns. I've been with the dog pound riding since I was 4 years old, man. Suffering through this drought. Cavaliers, before we got LeBron, terrible for years. Indians, terrible for years. So, I've been there. But I do follow Ohio State very, very closely. I know how good they are. I know what brand of football they play. I know they have a ton of talent. You've added a couple of guys from the transfer portal. The running back came over from Ole Miss, and we added the beast at safety and downs, who's probably going to be the number one ranked player on this game, a 99 overall at safety. Ohio State, Buckeyes, number 2. And the number 1 team, no surprise, the Georgia Bulldogs from the SEC, confirmed at number 1. Ton of talent. Quarterback that's been there, been through the battles. Ton of talent on defense. As long as those guys can stay out of trouble. I mean, there's been a lot of headlines over the past 2 years with some of the tragedy there. But, as far as getting it done between the hedges, between the white lines, ain't no one doing it better than Georgia. And they've got a very daunting schedule this year. They've got a ton of talent. They've got a ton of depth. I do know that they have some holes at linebacker and maybe in the secondary that they have to be concerned with, but they'll get it figured out. But they've got a meat grinder of a schedule they've got to get through. They've got a gauntlet of games. But if anyone can get it done, it's Kirby Smart. He's one of I read an article today. There's only 2 or 3 active coaches who've won a national championship, now that Saban's retired and Harbaugh's gone. What? That's it. There's I want to say the number's 3. 3 coaches, active coaches who've won a national championship. Kirby Smart's got 2 of them. Come on, man. Georgia, number 1. And now I'm going to get into this final one. We're going to discuss some of the teams that could potentially have been, left out, but still have a chance to be in the top 25. So you see right here, this is a compilation of the top 25 up on the screen, so that you can look at it all at one time. But we know that the teams that are not ranked from the screen grabs were Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Iowa, North Carolina, and Pitt. So those 5 teams, at least according to all the details that we've grabbed so far, those teams would not be ranked. Okay? Now, the candidates for number 19 and number 20, the 2 unconfirmed spots, the ones that I guessed on. It's a guesstimate. That's all it is. It's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't like it, you can sit there and go down and comment below. Tell me why your team ought to be there. It's just my opinion. I've done this for a long time, but EA could surprise me. But the candidates for the top 25. Washington, new coach, just played in the national championship last year, still have some talent there. They could be an outlier. They could give them respect because they were in a national championship game and put them in top 25. They're now in the Big Ten, so that's interesting. Wisconsin, I don't think that we've seen any photos that would link them to being in the top 25, but I've seen them in the videos, throwing up their hand signals, and there's been 3 or 4 screen grabs of Wisconsin, but nothing as far as the score bug or the play now screen that would show me the ranking. So they're one of the teams that's in consideration. I think they're a top 30 program on almost every one of the consensus top 25s. They could be there. Nebraska, but they've been talked about. I've seen them in the top 30, 35. So they could be one of those teams that are lurking. Maybe slide them in with our tradition, but they're in the Big Ten. I don't see it happening, but it's one that could be discussed. You could have an argument, Nebraska. Don't laugh at this one. I'm a Louisville fan. Remember that. I'm a Louisville fan. Boudreaux, hey, I know you won't use Louisville in your dynasty. First team out. You won't even consider them. But I'm not going to sit there and be that petty myself. I'm trying to be objective. I think the University of Kentucky could maybe hold down that spot at number 20. SEC program. Brooks has done a bang-up job. I mean, here he wins 8 games. He's a savior. He's walking on water. Kentucky fans love it. Beat 4 bums non-conference. Get drug in the SEC. 8-4. They giving this dude extensions. And he's been fortunate enough that he's beat Louisville while, we had Satterfield here. He's gone. Last year was disappointing as a Louisville fan. We did lose to Kentucky in the last game of the regular season, so they have had our number here recently. It pains me to say it, but I could see Kentucky being maybe number 20. You could maybe take Louisville out and replace them with Kentucky. I would not be surprised. They've enjoyed some success here recently. They've got a really, really talented quarterback. They've built up with some players. They recruit great in the state of Ohio. So, if they're not number 20, they're knocking on the door. They're one of those teams that are maybe also receiving votes and would be very highly ranked just outside of the top 25 if they don't have that spot. Another team is South Carolina. I've seen them generally anywhere from 28 to 33. They could jump into the top 25. I doubt it, but I wouldn't be surprised. They're one of those teams that's in the conversation, and that's all you can do. You can just be in the conversation and hope that maybe my team will get recognition and in the first version of EA Sports College Football 25 that you're recognized, your program success would allow you to be a top 25 program. And the last team that I would maybe entertain as potentially being in top 25, and there's been a lot of hype here lately. I've heard a lot after the post-spring about SMU. They've got a ton of money. They've really enjoyed the access to NIL. The jump to the ACC has helped them tremendously. They're basically playing for free. I mean, they're like, hey, give us the platform that we're in the ACC conference, and it's going to recruit itself, and we're going to make money, with ticket sales and such. We don't need, all the ACC league money, TV money. Let us join the league. We're here for the fun. We just want to win games. And once we start playing bigger competition, larger competition, better competition, we're going to rise to the top because now we've got all the facilities. We're in a great state of Texas recruiting. And now I'm in the conference to match, playing against the likes of Clemson and Florida State. You add in Cal that joined, and Stanford, Pitt, Miami, Louisville. Hey, they sit there and raise a level. So, I doubt that SMU is that spot, but I have seen them in a couple top 25s. People have mentioned them. There's some hype there. Whether or not EA listens, I doubt it, but they're in the conversation. So, anyway, that's the video. I know it's got a little bit long-winded, but people, hey, if you want to follow it, you're entertained, you like my breakdowns, stay with it. It's my opinion. At the end of the day, it's my opinion. It's just how I feel. I think it's a pretty good opinion though. I mean, I can sit there and listen to anyone's argument and understand why they think their team would be higher, but I'm just objectively looking at this and giving my idea of where I think EA is going to lean in all this. And, at the end of the day, just because you're ranked top 25 doesn't mean anything. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. I've seen teams in top 10 that drop out quick, fast, in a hurry. They don't live up to the expectations. There's no chemistry. Now, especially in this era of transfer portal, there's a lot going on. Continuity plays a huge role in football. Basketball, you throw a couple guys out there and they just ball. You've got to have a lot of guys that can work together and get along. And when you bring in all these new moving pieces, it sometimes can be hard. You don't have that continuity. You don't have that chemistry. You don't have that guy to your left and right that you feel that you can go to war with. So some of these teams are going to crumble, but others, cream rises to the top, to use that metaphor. They say it for a reason. You know, talent's going to win out. Talent's going to win out, and coaching helps a long way. But I coached high school football 20 years. Said it before. You know, it's Jimmys and Joes. Forget about X's and O's. I mean, that helps. Give me Jimmys and Joes all day. I'll take the best damn talent. Let's see what may happen. I mean, we might have to be basic as hell because they can't remember a play. And I know that we had that here at Louisville. We had a kid who couldn't remember a play, and they had to tell him every single time he went on the field what he was doing, what route he was running, if he was blocking, whatever. Talent wins out. Talent wins out. At the end of the day, it's what matters. Same thing. Same thing here. And I think it's going to be really apparent in EA Sports College Football 25 this season. You're going to see 5-star players that are just better than 2 stars and 3 stars. Talent's going to win out. And in this game in the past, speed wins. Speed kills. Speed's always killed. How do they sit there and juggle that fine line to differentiate the great from the good and the good from the average, and how's the good play against the bad players? So anyway, without further ado, that's it. That's a wrap. If you guys like this video, make sure that you hit like and subscribe. Comment down there. I've been going back and forth with some people. It's been pretty entertaining getting feedback and listening to my viewers share their opinions, say nice things, you know, that they enjoy my breakdown. So that's a good thing. But make sure you guys are hitting like and subscribe. Keep coming back. I'll have some more videos here in the future. But other than that, Fairdale Kings, out.